So before I get started in today's video, if you watched my last video on the top Solana projects to add to your portfolio and you listened to me about Aleph, which is something that I was stacking, this is a coin that I've been stacking. Since I made that video, this coin has pumped a whopping 42%. This has been crazy. Look at this candle. Look at this giant candle and listen to what I said in last week's video.
So the next Solana project to be adding to your portfolio is Aleph. Now, this is a coin that I have been stacking recently because I see so much value in it. So they say to think of them like a decentralized Amazon Web Services. So they're doing some fantastic work. So cloud computing for DeFi and Web3 simplified. Now, this is definitely a lesser known project, but for me, this poses an opportunity to get in on something early before it really takes off.
So I just want to start off and wish you guys a happy new year. I hope 2022 is going to be everything that you want it to be. You might be watching this video hungover, but I'm going to be going through this hungover. So don't mind me if I look a bit tired. I'm a little bit slower. I've had a big weekend. I've had a fun weekend. I've spent it with friends and family. And, you know, I hope you have too. I hope you've had the best time. But let's focus on Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin's at a very pivotal moment. We have been consolidating for a while now. This is not the December that we all thought we were going to have. A lot of people were thinking that we were going to have a blow off top, or Bitcoin would at least be a lot higher than what it is now. Based on historical data in the past, like December has been a mega bullish month for Bitcoin. But let's dive into some technical analysis and also some on-chain data, which is really fascinating right now, and you know what we can see in store for Bitcoin. And you know, if you don't give a shit about Bitcoin, you know, if you only love trading NFTs, if you only love trading certain altcoins, if you only like dabbling in lending and leverage yield farming, like that doesn't matter. Like Bitcoin is the big mamba of this whole entire space. Like everything follows Bitcoin, or most things, I would say 99% of things follow Bitcoin, and what happens to Bitcoin affects the rest of the space. So, you know, even if you don't care about Bitcoin, you don't even hold Bitcoin, you need to care about Bitcoin and what's going on. Hey guys, so jumping into some technical analysis for Bitcoin right now. Now I'm going to go through a bearish case for Bitcoin and also a bullish case for Bitcoin, but I'm going to start with the bearish case because we do have a head and shoulders pattern on the daily chart, which is a very bad signal. This is a bearish signal. This means we're going down. Okay, so this is where we have the left shoulder, we've had a spike, we've come down. We have the head, we've had an even bigger spike, we've come down, and then we have the right shoulder. And the right shoulder is actually quite small at the moment. So people are saying, some traders are saying that this is not your typical head and shoulders pattern because, you know, this doesn't seem complete. We haven't let the right shoulder play out, and, you know, potentially they're right. But also what we do see is that we see that the support line is actually uptrending. So it's ascending. We have an ascending support line. But you know, what's really interesting about Bitcoin right now is just the lack of activity. I mean, look at the lack of activity we have going on. Like people aren't really buying or selling. Like it's just slowed down so much. I mean, even coming back to June, May, when we had the crash, I mean, we had huge like sell-offs. We had huge like buys. We just had a lot more action going on. I mean, it slowed down, you know, really slowed down in July, but then it like, you know, picked back up. But we're having that same like low level of volume right now. Like there's just not a lot of things happening, not a lot of activity happening with Bitcoin. Now, you know, some logical reasons we can think of this this is that, you know, people are, you know, relaxing and they're stepping away from trading. It's the holiday season, it's Christmas, it's New Year's. Like, you know, maybe people aren't trading right now. You know, that's something we have to think about. Also, you know, it's the end of financial year for our good friends in the United States. So maybe people are tax harvesting, or people are sorting out their finances. They're not, you know, buying and selling, trading Bitcoin right now. Maybe they're just like figuring out what their next move is. So we need to really think about the climate that we're in as well when we see this chart. Okay guys, so just jumping into some bullish analysis for Bitcoin. Now, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily bullish, but I would say on more of an objective level, it's not bullish or bearish. It's kind of just like, this looks like consolidation. We keep on bouncing off the support area, which is 45,000. and then the resistance level, which is around 52. So, you know, whenever we've gone over the 50K mark, I keep on thinking, oh, the bull runs back on, but then we break back down, and it's just been this consolidation area here. But the thing is, it's really hard to say, you know, we're in a bear market right now, like this is the beginning of the bear market, because we haven't really broken down that much. You know, in comparison to what happened in May, where Bitcoin lost like 70% of its value, like we haven't actually broken down that much. And you know, like whatever, you know, people have different opinions about like, you know, what Bitcoin is doing right now, but you know, I really don't think in and around a 30% reduction in Bitcoin's value is actually that insane. I don't think it's that big in the grand scheme of things. Like Bitcoin is a very volatile asset. Like, you know, a 30% decrease in Bitcoin, like that's like nothing, like in the grand scheme of it. And it's not, you know, in comparison to a lot of other Bitcoin crashes or corrections, is actually pretty standard. 30% is pretty standard. So that is the bullish case for Bitcoin right now. Okay, so let's dive into some on-chain data for Bitcoin right now. Now, a metric that I love to use is the total transfer volume to exchanges, because the logic behind this is if you want to hodl Bitcoin, you're probably going to move your Bitcoin off an exchange and put it in cold storage. When you're ready to sell your Bitcoin, you're going to move it onto an exchange. It's going to have inflows onto an exchange, and then that's probably going to be the best place to get a good price for your Bitcoin and sell your Bitcoin. And that's exactly what happens. And you can see an example of this happening in May. This is what happened. We had this big inflow of Bitcoin onto exchanges. And of course, we had a massive decrease in the price. And that is because, you know, we had an excess in the supply of Bitcoin. The demand couldn't keep up. We had a crash. And that's what happens in bull runs, is you slowly see smart money, you know, put their Bitcoin onto exchanges and, you know, increase the supply of Bitcoin as they take profits. But what's really interesting is right now, we're not seeing any close to the level that we saw in May of Bitcoin on exchanges. If anything, it's been decreasing. So that's actually something to keep in mind. That's really fascinating. And what differentiates, you know, this bull run from other bull runs is that the supply of Bitcoin in December on exchanges has been decreasing. I mean, let's look at the level of Bitcoin in 2017 bull run. It was the 2017 to 2018 bull run. So you can kind of see the same. See, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You see like the level of Bitcoin moving to exchanges, just the fluctuations is crazy. You know, even like as we saw, you know, just before we peaked, we had like in November, December, we had a massive inflow of Bitcoin on exchanges. And then even moving past the peak, we saw like Bitcoin still heaps moving to exchanges. And, you know, 2013's bull run, I mean, if we just go to the 2013 bull run here, you can see like, you know, just before we peaked, we had our blow off top. I mean, there was a large number of Bitcoin moving to exchanges. And then, you know, going back to this year, you know, we've been steadily decreasing. Very interesting. Okay, so let's dive into some technical analysis for AVAX right now. Now, the reason I have been trading AVAX during this like weird volatile consolidation time is because the Fibonacci retracement has been like working wonders. I mean, look at this. We had this huge swing to the upside. We pulled back to the 0.786 and we broke past the 0.618. And then the 0.5 became such a strong support level. I mean, this is where I was setting my limit orders, you know, in and around $100 for an AVAX. And, you know, consistently we keep on touching this area, and we now just broke past the 0.382, and we're now in this lighter green area between the 0.382 and the 0.236. And I'm pretty happy about that. I hope we keep on staying within this area. And if so, I'm going to be even more bullish for AVAX. But, you know, it's okay to just keep trading in between these levels. I mean, you know, in cryptocurrency, you make it, you know, 15 to 20% gain, and people are like, oh, like what? Like they expect like these huge gains, but like in stocks and Forex, like, you know, 15% gain is like, it's like pretty good. So, you know, don't hesitate to trade between these like pretty clear support and resistance levels. Like, I mean, that's a 50% gain. That's better than nothing. That's what I have been doing. But I'm still, you know, watching Bitcoin closely before I go all in on my altcoins. Guys, if you've enjoyed today's video, please don't hesitate to smash the like button or subscribe to the channel. I produce videos on how you can make money in cryptocurrency every week, and we really appreciate the support. So please don't hesitate to join our community. Okay guys, so let's jump into some technical analysis for Solana. Now Solana had an all-time high of around 259 USD, which is amazing. And we've corrected pretty heavily. But I mean, we've corrected in and around, we're at 33%, which is like Bitcoin, like not necessarily that dramatic in the grand scheme of things. So I'm not really concerned about Solana. And we have found a pretty established support level in and around $170. We've found like a pretty good support level. We don't seem to be breaking below this level. But we are seeing higher highs. Are we going to get to another higher high after we've just found the support level here? Again, potentially. But let's get out the Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so I've got the Fibonacci retracement levels on Solana, and you know, it's been pretty damn consistent. So, you know, we broke down, we found support at the 0.618. And as I said before, this has been such a strong support level for Solana. Like, I highly recommend setting some limit orders at the 170 to 172 mark, because we keep on bouncing off it. But ideally what we want to see from Solana is a move past the 0.5. We need to start moving to these levels. But, you know, as I said, I'm still watching Bitcoin. Everything is so dependent on Bitcoin right now. And, you know, we really need to like keep that in consideration when we're trading altcoins. So anyway, that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you have a really amazing new year, and I'll see you next time.